So one of the biggest knocks on thermoform paddles is they're not controllable. Are you looking for a controllable thermoform paddle? Meet the moving GRUVN 16X. I love this paddle. Wait till you hear about it. First off, let's go through the normal specs. Obviously, it's the T700 raw carbon fiber face, thermoformed unibody. You can take a look at the weave pattern here of the carbon face. Normal weave pattern here, you can take a look at it. Good tight weave here. We know that GRUVN makes a good line and they're very good cores. So let's talk about why their paddle is a little bit different than the others, in my opinion. So first off, I like the shape of this paddle. It's a little bit like the Yola. It came out before the Yola Perseus. It's just been in production here. I like the shape of it here. It really cuts through the air. You can feel this paddle move at the kitchen. The thing about the GRUVN line in and of itself is they have a very soft core. It's one of the softest cores of any of the paddles that we play with, and regularly I pull out their paddles when I want to play. The 13X is one of my favorite paddles. When they moved to this MUVN GRUVN line, I was really excited about it because one of the things that their previous line lacked was the power. Now what they have is what I would say one of the more perfect blends of a thermoform paddle. This is a very controllable, not as soft as some of the others. It does not feel like it's a Gen 1 paddle. It is very crisp coming off the face. Most unibody thermoform paddles have a little bit too much pop for people. They're too powerful. And so what you want to try and find when you're going to the thermoform unibody is a controllable paddle that has enough power for you. I feel like this paddle has a great blend. No matter where you hit on the paddle face, you get great feedback from this paddle. So when I'm hitting over here in the corner, I know that this is the exact corner that the ball is being hit on, and I can make that slight millisecond adjustment when I'm hitting off center. Right? We all want to hit the sweet spot, but the way I gauge a good paddle is how does it perform when I'm not hitting the sweet spot? How does it perform when I'm blocking and I'm hitting off center? How does the paddle perform? I would say that this is one of the most controllable thermoform paddles that I have played. I would put this right up there with the Carbon 3X. That's another controllable one that I would put up there as far as control and feedback goes, but that's more powerful than this. So this has less pop than the Carbon line, and more towards the Perseus and the Yola. Those are very softer feeling thermoform paddles. This is not a soft feeling paddle. It is a very good feeling thermoform paddle. If I want to compare this to the Yola, let's take this to the Perseus. Now the Perseus and the Scorpius is the very much control paddle for the thermoform. Both of those paddles feel more muted than this one. And when I say muted, is the word that I can explain the most is crisp. This paddle feels very crisp coming off the paddle face, so it doesn't feel like the dwell time that you get on some of the Yola paddle, for example. Compare this to the Project 006. The Project 006 would feel more muted and softer feeling than this, but this would have as much power as the Project 006. This would be more crisp feeling like the Double Black Diamond from 6-0. Not as much control as that paddle. That paddle's a little bit more maneuverable, but exactly the crisp feeling off of that. This is exactly what this paddle reminded me of. That's why I think that this paddle is one of the higher ones in my list as far as the thermoform paddles go, because of the control I get with this, as well as the forgiveness that you don't see in all of the other thermoform paddles. There are some other ones that will just make you pay. Legacy Pro, for example, that one has a very small sweet spot. So if you hit off-center shots, it kills it. Resetting with that from no man's land, very difficult. So there's a learning curve with that one. I found that picking this paddle up, the learning curve was very low. I was able to pick this paddle up, play with it immediately with small corrections to some of my strokes to accommodate the way this paddle felt. Okay, let's just go through the specs real quick. This is a 16.5 by a 7.375. It's a little bit smaller, a little skinnier on this side because of the edge guard. 8 ounces is the normal weight with given the range that they have. So 8 ounces is about the weight. This is about a swing weight of 117. So this is kind of middle tier as far as swing weight goes. And the twist weight now, twist weight is a new metric that Chris Olson and John Q have been coming up with, and I really like this because it talks about the twist weight of the paddle in your hand. And the higher the twist weight is, the less likely the paddle is to turn in your hand when you're blocking, right? You're holding the paddle really lightly and the ball hits over here. The twist weight is going to be how heavy it is when the paddle is twisting in your hands. And so this is right around middle tier of that one too. So very maneuverable paddle at the kitchen line, very maneuverable paddle because of the swing weight and the weight of the paddle itself. So if you like to play a little bit heavier paddle, I suggest just hitting all four corners with your lead weight. You can put weight here in all four corners. That will widen your sweet spot, give you a little bit higher swing weight, and also increase that twist weight, because that twist weight is what's going to keep your paddle stable when you're blocking. And this is on the stiffer side of paddles, this is a stiffer paddle, so that is never bad to do a little bit of perimeter weighting with paddles like this. One of the things I like about the GRUVN line in general is they've got smaller handle sizes. So women tend to love these paddles because it's only a 4.125 inch handle circumference. So it is a bit on the smaller side. So if you got big hands, you're going to be expecting to do a couple overwraps on top of this. And what I suggest, so you don't lose the bevels as much, take off the stock grip that comes in here and just put your overwrap directly on the paddle. That'll sharpen the edges a little bit. You won't lose your bevel as much, because when you keep overwrapping, it just rounds the handle out, and you want to make sure you try to keep that as sharp as possible if you like feeling bevels. The other thing is it's a 5.5 inch handle. So one of the things I love about the 5.5 inch handle is it's big enough for the twoies. Because of the way this neck shape is, you can get a good 6 inches out of this handle, no problem, by taking your overwrap up to here. And you can see here that it is plenty comfortable for me to do a twoie with it, right? Without having to overlap, I can comfortably get my hands on here. And let's talk about the different shots and the performance of this paddle with all the different shots. So anything involving control, this paddle is going to be great for it. So in the kitchen, working the kitchen line, moving the people around, being able to be aggressive from the kitchen. It's a top tier in spin, top 10 in spin, 1800 on the spin ratios from those that have been testing it. Independent testers have tested this at around 1800 RPMs. So you can definitely put some brush on the ball and put some top spin, some side spin, anything you want. I was able to do from the kitchen. Mark from our channel here, really good brush strokes he can pull off with this paddle. He doesn't like stiffer paddles, so this isn't the type of paddle he would play, but you should watch some of the shots he's able to hit with this paddle. He was able to do some damage with it. So really good on the spin and the attacks from there. I would say this paddle is, from the kitchen line, a really good counterpunch paddle. I think that the pop on this paddle, now remember, we've talked about power versus pop. This paddle is going to fall into both categories because it does have great power and it does have great pop. So I would say because of the hand speed with this and the ability for the ball to just jump off the face of this, this is great on the pop. I would call this top tier in pop and counterpunch ability. So offensively, this is a great paddle for those type of shots. Short strokes, counter punches from no man's land, this paddle is going to perform really well. But then this is where this paddle steps itself up in the double black diamond range. The double black diamond's one of the most controllable if not the most controllable thermoform paddle I've ever played. This guy's 1B right next to it with no man's land resets, with third shot drops, with anything that involved control and touch. This paddle was top tier to me. This is something that you could immediately put in your bag and you have an immediate improvement in your performance in those areas with an additional power and pop added to your game. So let's talk a little bit about the power. So power we've defined as full strokes, right? Full strokes, I'm taking full cuts at the ball and putting everything I have into it. This paddle performs really well. So it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. If you're not used to this much pop, you might have to back down on your power a little bit. You might have to go 60% instead of 80% because the paddle will give you a little bit of help there. And it has enough bite that it's going to dip at the end. And you really want to dip at that baseline. You want to be able to put it at people's feet at the baseline with enough speed and control. Slice shots, hitting a slice shot return, anything that involves spin from the baseline. This paddle's a top tier, top 10 in spin, so it will be able to have movement on it. And the other thing that we know about GRUVN and in their paddles in general is they last. They're good lasting paddles, good quality construction. You can tell when you pick up this paddle, it is a solid paddle. But you know what? Don't take my word for it. Let's hear what Mark has to say about this paddle. Take it away, Mark.
I don't change paddles often, but I try some paddles and I can tell you what I think about. This is a new paddle from my favorite brand, GRUVN. It's called GRUVN MUVN-16X. I actually play with GRUVN Roll 16RX. I got this paddle and I can tell you what I think about it. This paddle is pretty stiff and it reminds me very popular 6-0 double black diamond. It has that crispy feeling of every shot. There are things in which this paddle is pretty good and there are things where it's not that great. It has about the same spin as other carbon face paddles. It has pretty good control for the power it gives you. For thermoformed paddle, it's probably a rather control paddle than power, but make no mistakes, it has plenty of power. What I really like about it is how it blocks. It blocks really well. You can feel where you direct the ball, and sometimes you can defend crazy shots. The other thing, the resets are pretty good, so if you relax your hand, you just place the paddle, it will do the rest automatically. Also, obviously all putaways are awesome because of the crazy pop, and dinks, although it's pretty poppy paddle, dinks are accurate and precise, and sometimes it provokes you to, at least it provokes me to do too much, to hit too fancy shots, which obviously causes some mistakes. So don't fool yourself, even it feels that it has incredible control, still limited because the ball is not as round and it has holes. So it doesn't give you fantastic precision that you would have with table tennis or tennis. What I didn't really like about it, with every stiff paddle, with my technique, it's hard to put much spin on it, especially when I drop or dink. Unlike many other players, I put a lot of spin on my drops and my dinks, and usually people have trouble with that. And when I play this paddle, I see that people do not react as much to my drops. They do not pop up the ball and do not feel much pressure when I dink either. Drives with this paddle are good, especially flat ones. It goes really fast because it has a good control. You can put it really low above the net, and that becomes pretty dangerous. I have a good background in table tennis, in badminton, and in tennis. From a badminton perspective, that paddle would be awesome. It's elongated, it has large sweet spot, it has very head-like balance. It's easy to keep your wrist relaxed and easy to do trick shots like this. And as I said, badminton players usually do not need that much spin. From badminton player perspective, that's pretty good paddle. From table tennis, it's definitely good that it's headlight, but the lack of spin on slow shots, I personally didn't like that much, so I stay with my GRUVN Roll 16RX. Look at the description for count code, you will get 10% off, and that will support our channel.
Okay, here's the amazing thing about this paddle. It's only 180 bucks retail. With our discount code below, you get 10% off of that. So as far as the market goes and the value of the thermoform paddles out there, you cannot beat the price of this paddle. So look in the description below, take our code. Thank you so much, GRUVN, for sending us this paddle to review, and thank you for those of you that are using our code. You help us keep the lights on and bring you this content to help you make the right choices on the paddles you choose. Now, if you don't like this brand or you want to experience another brand, check these out. Yeah, they're good. They're, good paddles. I do my little teapot. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Okay, I wanted to do that to you. Click on it. Click on it. Click on it.